One of the biggest fears that people have with handstands is the fear of falling. And it's natural, it makes perfect sense. You don't want to go upside down and fall and hurt yourself. And it is also why a lot of people get stuck in the handstand process, especially that they get too reliant on using the wall behind them because they're scared to just fall on the other side. And that is why it's a very essential skill to learn how to fall safely. In other words, how to bail safely out of a handstand. It is an inevitable part of the process for you to be kicking up into a handstand, going too far, and have to bail and save yourself. It just happens all the time. So not knowing how to bail will definitely hinder your process and make you stuck. With my students, as soon as they get strong enough to hold themselves upside down and have a bit of that awareness, I immediately teach them how to bail because again, it's such an important skill that is often overlooked by a lot of people. And it makes such a big difference in the practice. In my opinion, the best and safest way to bail out of the handstand is to cartwheel out to the side. In simple words, this is done by taking one hand forward and then bringing the feet one at a time down to the floor. Now, how do we learn that? Here's a step-by-step process that I recommend. Start simple with your feet on top of a chair or a ledge and with your hips on top of your hands, mimicking a handstand position. From here, you want to take your dominant hand forward and internally rotate it so that your fingers point inwards. And then bring your feet down to the floor one at a time, starting with the foot that's on the same side of the moving hand. So the sequence is hand, foot, foot. Hand, foot, foot. Practice this a few times in a safe setting so that you understand the sequence and also the weight shifting, especially when you take that first step with the hand. There's going to be a small moment when you move that first hand where most of the weight is on the other hand. So you got to get used to that. And once that sequence gets a bit comfortable in your body, then you can start to take your feet higher and higher on a higher ledge or even go towards a wall. The sequence is the same. You take the dominant hand forward, internally rotate, and then bring the feet down one at a time. Hand, foot, foot. And one key element to a successful execution of this is to try to be as soft and as quiet as possible, especially as you bring your feet down. It is normal for you to land hard into the ground first, but over time you want to make that as quiet and as soft as possible. Eventually you can practice this pretty close to the wall so it looks more and more like a handstand. Now, oftentimes we use this skill to save ourselves when we kick up too far in a handstand going past our center line. So to mimic this situation, on the wall, you can use the leg that you usually use for kicking up to reach it really far behind you until you really feel that the weight of your body is being shifted in that direction. Then you can execute this sequence. Hand, foot, foot. Make sure to take the time to practice this part of the process on the wall because when you take this into a real kick-up situation, you want your body to already be aware and be trained to know how to do this sequence. Whenever you're ready, you can take this off the wall. It might be a good idea to practice this on a soft surface like grass, for example, mostly for the peace of mind. I've very rarely seen people actually hurt themselves from kicking up and falling. The body is usually smart enough to save itself. And practicing this method will really help that too. Kick up into a handstand, as we have already learned. And there's gonna be times where you don't have enough momentum to go up into a handstand, and that's okay. But there are gonna be times also that you feel that your weight is going over your center, and that's when you wanna initiate this sequence. Again, hand, foot, foot. You can do this mostly on the side that you're comfortable with, moving your dominant hand. But of course, it is a good idea to practice both sides over time. And remember, it doesn't have to look pretty at all, especially in the beginning. As long as you can save yourself by bringing your feet down to the floor safely, then you're doing a great job. Of course, as you practice more and more, you can make this look and feel softer and more elegant. Now, another skill that is really helpful here as well is to learn how to do an actual cartwheel. The cartwheel is a really fun skill to learn by itself, and it is part of what I usually teach my online students. And other than being fun, it's also a really helpful skill as it teaches you how to have some awareness with weight shifting as you're upside down and just be a bit more dynamic. Now go ahead and practice this on your own if you haven't. It really is a game changer in a handstand practice. And as always, let me know if you have any questions. Please reach out and we can chat. For now, take care.